Senate Democrats taking advantage of Majority Leader Harry Reid's decision last month to invoke the so-called nuclear option, which eliminates filibusters on presidential nominees. The Senate confirming Patricia Millett as a federal appellate court justice for the D.C. Circuit. They voted to break a filibuster of Congressman Mel Watt to head the Federal Housing Finance Agency that oversees Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, so it's full speed ahead now. The Supreme Court reportedly indicating they could revive a federal rule requiring 28 states in the South and Midwest to reduce pollution from power plants that drifts to states in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeastern regions. Several justices suggested during a 90-minute argument today that they do believe the Environmental Protection Agency did not exceed its authority when it issued the cross-state air pollution rule in 2011. And new reports that the Obama administration has almost no international support for a controversial new trade standard being secretly negotiated with 12 countries, including Australia, Canada, Japan, Mexico, Singapore, Vietnam. All of this according to two internal memos that were obtained by the Huffington Post, showing broad disagreement over several White House positions, including a granting of new political powers to corporations that would increase the cost of prescription medications and restrict bank regulations. The White House wants an agreement by New Year's Day on this framework for which, as I said, there is no international support right now. There is also no technical deadline, which means no public deadline. Obamacare's problems continue to compound themselves. The Washington Post reports that in addition to millions losing access to their current health care plans, doctors and hospitals, Obamacare will also limit drug coverage for those with chronic conditions. Joining us now, Fox News contributor, former Senator Scott Brown. Scott, good to have you with us.
It's good to be on, Lou. Thank you.
It is, every night seems to bring here another development, revelation about what Obamacare is, with Nancy Pelosi's voice over my back, saying, if you want to know, just, pass the darn thing. Well, we're finding out. The idea that drug coverage would be lost here for people with chronic conditions and other roadblocks are just unimaginable, but they keep coming.
Well, Lou, I don't want to say I told you so, but when I was running for the United States Senate, I pointed out a lot of the problems that were going to be experienced with Obamacare. You have $500 billion of Medicare cuts, which are starting to take effect. You have 18 new taxes, including a medical device tax that's crushing businesses. It's no surprise. Listen, the money has to come from somewhere. So they're going to take from, obviously, the lesser expensive drugs and I'm sorry, for the more expensive drugs and try to, save money so they can pay for the entire plan. And it's broken. Everybody knows it's broken except the administration. That's why they brought in Podesta. And as you referenced earlier in your show, the average American isn't going to be sitting around its dinner table during the holidays saying, oh my gosh, he's here, thank goodness. No one knows him except the Washington insiders. He's there, obviously, to push a very liberal, progressive agenda, to expand the president's executive powers, to try to address and deal with a lot of things that Congress isn't allowing him to do.
And Podesta, as you well know, is a highly effective person and operator. But he is being, as Jay Carney today said, he's being brought in to implement the Affordable Care Act. I thought it was an extraordinary choice of words, because if it's going to rest on his shoulders, as good as he is probably going to be in deep trouble.
Well, he's going to have a lot of work to do. And the fact that the president and his administration and everybody who's trying to administer the Obamacare plan is basically changing law without the ability of Congress to interject or be part of the process, I wouldn't be shocked if there's a constitutional challenge as to the fact that they're making and changing laws without the proper authority to do so, number one. Number two, everybody knows that it's a mess. Even their own, some Democratic senators, as you know, Senator Baucus, I believe it was, said it's a train wreck. It is. We see it about the website. We see it in the cancellations. Each and every day there's something new. And that's why you have senators and congressmen who voted for this, who rammed it through, who need to go back to their home states immediately and tell people why they voted for it, why they didn't vote for the grandfathering of all these amendments that would have given the protections that the American people deserve, and why are they losing their prescription drug care now.
And Scott, let's go to the politics of this thing. Let's take a look, if we may, at the president's most recent disapproval rating, which is an astonishing 57%. His approval rating has dropped to 38%. In the newest Quinnipiac poll. The Quinnipiac poll also showing 41% would vote for a Republican, 38% for a Democrat for the House. The first time the Democrats have come up as the underdogs on the generic ballot. This is the panic and the concern and the anxiety that we saw in the Senate early is now in the House. This administration making these moves, is it a sign of desperation?
Of course it is. Listen, you get what you vote for. Every single Democratic senator voted before I got there to ram this thing through. And then they made sure that they did not take up one amendment that would have protected the American people through the grandfathering process to allow them to keep their plans. They had many opportunities to fix this, and they chose to do nothing. And now they're filing CYA bills, obviously covering their backsides, saying, oh, listen, they go home, they say, listen, I'm really doing it. I didn't really understand it. I'm going to fix it, when they're just doing it for show. The American people, I hope, are finally waking up and holding these senators and congressmen accountable for ramming something through against the American public policy that is hurtful to the medical industry, to doctors, hospitals, nurses, throughout our great country.
Scott, two quick questions. We're already out of time, but I want to ask you about this new budget deal. Murray and Ryan have pulled it off, and leadership is supporting it now. Your reaction to what is the first bipartisan budget action that I have seen in years?
Well, it's about time, first of all. But as you know, Senator Murray said that it doesn't address the big things, and clearly it doesn't. Saving $23 billion, while that's important, we're running a $17 trillion national debt, trillion-dollar deficits every year. We need to do more. They need to address the big things. Everybody knows it. They're just kicking the can down so they can go home for the winter holiday break. And the good news is it does create some certainty and stability so people can plan, so businesses and individuals can plan, and we do get back to the regular order. So that is a good thing. But we really got to start getting into, you know, obviously Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, a lot of the things that are driving the train here.
Let's go to one of the other big things, and that's your view on what you think of draft movements, particularly for the United States Senate. In New Hampshire, you're one of those people being drafted. Your thoughts?
Listen, there are 3 good candidates running right now, so there's plenty of people being considered. It's an honor. I dropped an email to the young man out of UNH who's doing that. You know, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I think that Senator Shaheen and every other senator who voted for that bill have to go back to their home states and tell people why they voted for this and explain why it's a good thing for not only New Hampshire, but for every other state. And at that point, if there's a good reason, then I'll maybe figure it out a little bit more. But right now, I'm focusing on obviously the holidays, taking care of my family, and contributing as I'm doing right here, right now.
Well, those sound like extraordinary priorities as well. Very positive ones indeed. Scott, thanks so much for being with us. You know, I think the draft movement is a terrific idea. Get some sort of sense of what the people want early on. Thanks, Scott Brown.